On January 3, 2025, this scrawny old man told me he had a BMW motorcycle at home. At first, I half believed him, but it really was a BMW, and quite a fancy one. It had a ton of buttons on it. I lifted the cover on top, and realized it was huge. The old man said it belonged to his brother. It sat in his yard for years. Then he pushed it into a shed for another 2 or 3 years. Altogether, it probably hasn't been ridden for almost 10 years. Now he's moving south to retire. He asked 10,000 yuan for it. At most it was worth 6,500 plus a couple of extra cylinders. So I brought it back. This bike is super heavy. It's close to 400 kilograms. But during a move, he lost the keys. So now, I have to find some shady way to unlock it. Wish me luck. If you ever lose your bike keys, just give me a call. I'll come rescue you. With my amateur lockpicking skills. Only one side of the keyhole worked. The other side probably had a broken tooth stuck in it. I thought there'd be some good stuff inside the rear box. Because back then, people who bought bikes like this weren't ordinary folks. But there was only this thing. No idea what it's for. I don't think it belongs to the bike. Turns out it even has a heated seat button. And a hydraulic support rod. Looks like this bike was really well equipped. The original battery was dead. Hooked up a jumper, turned the key, the dash lit up, the horn worked, and I thought if I added gas it would run. 6,500 yuan for a killer deal. I was grinning. Grinning ear to ear, showing my big teeth, but it wouldn't start. It just clicked once. At first, I thought maybe my connection was bad, or the starter button was broken. But it kinda felt like the starter motor couldn't turn over. This might be bad. If the starter won't turn, it's likely two things. Either a problem with the starter itself, or the engine inside is seized up. I thought I'd make some cash buying this big bike cheap. Turns out it's got a 4-cylinder engine inside. And it's mounted horizontally. This kind of engine has a fatal flaw: uneven wear and burning oil. If I had known it had this kind of setup before buying, I wouldn't have spent 6,500. Now I'm starting to regret it a little. My beard's getting long, whatever. Forget it. Let's take off the shell and see what the issue is. Hopefully it's just a problem with the starter itself, but since it's German-made, even after so many years, you can still see the great craftsmanship. And the functions are totally German style too, even found to native inhabitants living inside. They'd already passed away. No wonder it's an intercontinental touring bike. The fuel tank's huge. I just wanted to check the starter's situation, but ended up taking apart half the bike. I think I'm out of my mind. At the back of the starter, there's a red wire connected to it. Pretty sure it's this wire causing the issue. It's oxidized green. It's probably bad contact from corrosion. Not enough current flow. The starter can only be replaced one more layer. I crimped a new copper connector back on for him. This spot is really awkward. Then I plugged in the starter and powered it up for testing. Yep, that's exactly the issue. All this trouble caused by a tiny oxidized part made me dismantle half the car. Just as it gets dark, time to clock out and clean up. This is the Brown Series 9 Pro I've been dreaming of. Been waiting for it to arrive. My beard's practically celebrating New Year's time for a premium shaver. Gotta treat myself. The shaver head floats independently. Clean shave in one stroke. And with sonic vibrations, gentle on the skin, smooth and tidy. Pop it in the Smart Care Center. 1-button sterilization, no odor next use. Plus a travel charging case. Staying fresh even after 100 days on the road. Heading home to sleep now. Tomorrow I'll deal with it. Yesterday, one oxidized copper wire on the starter made me strip half the car. Today I'll check the ignition system while I'm at it, so we don't have to redo it later. This time, I'm being extra thorough. Sorry about that. I'll give you double now. From how it feels, this spark plug's probably never been removed, and it's a twin tip. To save effort, I directly tested its performance on the detector. The condition of all the plugs wasn't great, but still barely usable. Then put them straight back on. Sure enough, high voltage sparks firing out. I also checked the cylinder compression on this side. Each one pumped out over 10 bars of pressure. This is the strongest one I've ever worked on, which means its horsepower will be massive. Now I'm certain the wiring's fine. Next, time to sort out its begging for help fuel tank. Luckily it's plastic. No rust inside. But this fuel pump here's disappointing. I hooked it up to a power supply for testing. Sure enough, no reaction. So I used my old trick, gave it a shake side to side. Keep this a secret, okay? Don't let that guy find out. When it runs dry for a long time, you can try tapping the fuel pump. Most times it'll work. And I also noticed something seriously badly designed on this car. They actually placed the air filter below the fuel tank, meaning even a simple maintenance job needs half the car dismantled like me just to reach it. So chances are this filter was manufactured on December 19, 2005. Let's take this together. Now fuel's added, power's on. Let's try starting it. Wish me luck. Now the car won't pick up fuel. I suspect it's still fuel sludge. This morning we already knocked on the fuel pump. The issue can only be with the injectors, but after removing them they seemed fine, tested directly. Not their fault. Fuel spraying everywhere. You reckon the problem isn't in the fuel lines? At least these injectors are fine. This 6,500 yuan really brought me a headache. Nothing's gone smoothly. Every step's a problem. Now it does start, but only for a moment. Can't rev up. After a while, it starts again. I ruled out any wiring issues in the ignition system. I can be sure this ignition line is fine. Then I carefully checked the repair manual. Even ran a full BMW diagnostic, nothing at all. Hey, maybe you owe me a stick of incense. I think it's just a minor problem bugging both me and the car. Could it be a false signal? Believe me, at the end of science lies traditional philosophy. I'm lost too now. No idea what's wrong, and no idea what to look for. After a few days, I noticed that after it stalls, this hose gets even stiffer. So I pulled it off. One end had fuel coming out, the other side completely blocked. This defies Newton's laws. I started pouring in cleaner, and found a ton of gunk inside. It was clogged. Splashed both our faces, but I think this was the culprit, so I cleaned out the fuel bowl. Wiped it down and reinstalled the tank. Not sure if it's fixed, but let's wish ourselves good luck. Told you so, at the end of science. There's always our philosophy. Just this tiny return pipe clogged and stalled me for 4 or 5 days. Luckily, I'd blasted it open just in time, forced it to show its true self. Now let's quickly install it back and test the other functions. If anything else breaks, I'll blast that too. Now that the tire pressure front and back is done, time for a test drive. Wish me luck. Even though this car sat here for nearly 10 years, its performance and comfort are still impressive. Looks like those 2 leaking cylinders were worth it. Wishing you health and wealth.